Hello and welcome to Jambuddies. This is our new podcast where we answer questions. We do get quite a lot of emails coming asking for advice on such and such, and so we thought, well, why not put it into a podcast because some of the questions seem to be the same. Okay, so without further ado, just to introduce us, this is Lee.
Hello.
He is a professional guitarist. And he plays in a couple of different wedding bands. He plays around Manchester, that sort of thing. So he's experienced quite a lot in the live scene, and he also does sessions for us quite a lot as well. My name is Matt, and this is my studio, and obviously I'm sound engineer. So without further ado, our first question is from Jerry, and it is how do you jam with other people? So to some people this comes quite naturally.
Yeah.
And some people sit down and they sort of stare blankly at each other, which there'll probably be a lot of that in this podcast because it's the first one. So what I would say is either get together and learn a song together first of all, or learn one beforehand before you meet, and start from there as baseline.
Yeah. Take a simple one, 3 chords, 4 chords, something that you can both just play along with, play with each other. We can play the same part together for a while, and then move away from that and have 2 guitars doing different things.
Yeah. So I mean, a good example of that, for example, would be I don't know, some Rolling Stones or some Beatles tunes. They're quite easy to learn.
Stuff everybody knows anyway.
Well, exactly, because then if you do go out to jam at pubs with strangers on a jam night or something, then it's something everybody's going to know, isn't it?
Yeah. The other thing I found from doing the jam nights is you watch the hands. You know chord shapes, you recognise them. Oh, I know what he's playing, and you can see that. And then, so even if you don't know the song, you can say, oh, that's a G, that's a D, that's a C. I can then play along, and then because these jam nights, the songs do go on and on and on anyway. At some point you can start playing something a bit different. Play along with it, bit of a lead, strum it slightly differently. So watching is part of not listening, obviously. Music is listening, but a big part's watching. Watch where their hands go.
Yeah.
Watch exactly what they're doing, and then the eye contact. You'll go. You take a lead. I'll take a lead.
Yeah. Well, one thing I've found going to jam nights is sometimes there's the easily recognisable chords like your G's and your D's and something, but then if somebody comes up with a sort of an actual seventh or what have you,
Jimi Hendrix chord,
and they've got 4 fingers in a strange position, in say G flat or something on the fretboard, you can't almost always recognise that and just play it
not
away.
Straight off, not first time.
Exactly. Specifically when somebody is playing a little bit jazzily.
Yeah, definitely.
What I do is sometimes I just play a basic bass line on the strings.
I think it's down to watching. Try and find the root note they've got.
Yeah, exactly, and then just
and then you
build on that.
Yeah.
So then maybe move on to.
Do you know the other thing though? Don't be afraid of messing up and getting it wrong.
Oh yeah.
That's the other. You hesitate. Don't hesitate. Just go. And it won't all be perfect.
Yeah.
But you can start making it fit. You can start to come in and you can. First time you play it wrong, okay. Next time, oh no, that's that. And then you get more confident with it. So I think the thing with jamming, particularly live jams, is have a bit of confidence and not worry too much.
Goes a long way.
And not worry too much about messing it up. And when I first started, I'd be very quiet. The volume will be down. I didn't use a pick. Just don't want to be heard. Unless I'm doing right, don't want anyone to hear what I'm doing. Eventually, you start getting a bit louder and a bit louder.
A bit more volume,
Yeah.
That's like singing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
When you've got the confidence. It's having the confidence to begin with, I suppose. So if you build it up from something simple.
And it is. I think it's a little bit easier than singing because he's hiding behind something.
Yes.
Singing, it's just you.
That is very true.
Guitar, director's nodding. Guitar, you can hide behind that, and I play it badly. Oh, it's that. That's their fault. Not my fault. It's that fault.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes I cheat when somebody comes up with a mad jazz chord in the middle of something. What I'll do is just a bit of a rake.
Oh yeah.
back into the
Yeah. And that's another thing, isn't it? You can drop out on the chord you don't know, just stop, then come back in on the chord you do know.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and it doesn't matter because they're playing it, so they can keep going. No one's going to
Slide.
notice. Yeah. Big slide.
Yes, exactly.
So there's a lot of little, I won't say cheats, but things you can do.
Just to cover
Yeah,
yourself.
to cover that you don't quite know what's going on. And no, the thing is, you might notice, but no one watching will notice really. Unless it's so obviously wrong that you won't notice that you dropped out for a second and come back in.
Even so, I mean, most jam nights are in pubs, so you know they tend to get fairly well lubricated sometimes. I think and there's nothing wrong with that. And the thing is, even with top class acts on stage, if you go and see a big concert somewhere, it's not unknown for big acts to make.
Oh, I've heard of
mistakes.
top acts that you would have heard of. Stop the band, start again.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yeah.
I think Bon Jovi did it once.
Yeah, I've heard of bands that you've heard of.
I've heard of that. I didn't go and see Bon Jovi at all. Anyway, so you start with the song. I mean, what sort of songs would you? I mean, 3 or 4 chords, big chords, that sort of thing.
Knocking on Heaven's Door's an easy one. There's a couple of ways you can do it. You've got your G, D, and you can either do a C or an A minor. But so the standard way we can do it. So there's 3 chords there. That's it. And that's a good example there. Is I can watch. I know them chords. I know G, C, and D. So I'm watching. If I've never heard this before, I can watch that. Oh, I can follow that.
Yeah.
And then I'll play. I'll probably play it the same way for a while, just following you. Yeah. Okay. Then you can find. Yeah. You can play the bass note. Then what I can do is I can pick the pattern a bit differently. We've got sort of 2 separate parts.
Yeah.
So it's you've got.
So you can differentiate.
Yeah, you've got 2 different bits.
Yeah.
So straight away, although we're playing the same chords, same shapes, something different's going on both guitars. And then again, like I said, confidence. Once you play through a couple of times, you have a bit of confidence to play them differently. So the G could be the bar chord.
Yes, that's very true.
So you can play, just get some different notes in there. It doesn't have to be anything fancy.
Yeah.
In terms of going to the lead, well, there's a G, D, and a C. So you got a key of G, 12th position, and just with the lead, it's pentatonic scale. Just basic guitar scale you learn. It's in all the books. It's the first one you learn, and just mess around with that there from that position. Just various shapes with that.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the things that I learned from Eddie Van Halen, who recently passed away, God bless his soul. I was reading something where he said that you don't have to do all the I mean, obviously he did. You don't have to do all that fancy stuff. You can play one note and you can play it with different attitudes and sort of different sort of intonations. So. You can make a solo memorable. You can make it soulful with just a couple of notes. So again, from the 12th fret, with your good old pentatonic, if you're
just hammering on from a couple of just the same notes.
Just if you play with a bit of funk and that sort of thing, then you only need 3 or 4 notes.
Exactly. It's a common trick. Trick I do if I want to start sort of going for it. I just have this, and I'll just do what you were doing there. Just go for that.
Yeah.
And it's not much, but it does start to sound a little bit more interesting. Just add something to it. And so if you just find a thing you can do that you're quite good at, even if it could be just that. For the key of G, it could be. So you've got that. So straight away there's something a little bit different that the way you play it.
If you do it in a sort of syncopated manner with a different rhythm, then rather than just one note after the other, that makes it interesting, doesn't it? So sort of, and that's up to particularly fast or fancy, but it's got
it's
a
a
bit of a
sequence.
groove to it.
I mean, I find when I'm jamming, particularly lead, it's the same stuff really. I'm doing the same kind of thing. I just try to change it around a bit, but I go back to my go-to techniques. I'll go back to them. With somebody jamming, it's not like I'm going to record that and I have to think of something a bit different to do.
Yeah.
I'm jamming, so I'll just put something in there. So that's the sort of lead side of jamming. You have the chord side with the look at what chords are being played and then just start playing them a little bit differently. So, and that's a starting point, because then you, with no sort of conscious effort, you start to be able to do it. You know? So you start with some simple stuff, basic scale, follow the chords.
But you can even use chord inversions as well to sort of go into your lead, because I mean, you might not be comfortable with going for single notes straight away, and I know that when I've been to jam nights, there might be 5 or 6 of you sitting in a circle, and there's somebody who's pretty hot and he's doing all this sort of stuff, and the next person who might not really be very big, they're just sort of like and what you can do then, instead of simply going to G here, you can just sort of strum through a G on, like, again, the 10th and 12th fret here, like. And it adds another.
It's a chord melody. But that is the temptation to think, well, I've got to do something very fancy.
Yeah.
But actually, that sounds interesting. You don't have to do something particularly fancy. You can, like you said, just go for a different inversion.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
so that's just different chords.
Yeah.
But it does have something interesting to it. So I think it's not be afraid to just keep it simple sometimes, and then you just
jamming together. Using inversions like that adds another layer, doesn't it?
Well, definitely, I mean, like you said, there could be 3-4 guitars. Normal setup, bass, 2 guitars, singer. But on a jam night, you can have 5 guitarists all round. Yeah. So you can actually create quite a nice sound there out of these 5 guitars that are not all just
doing the same.
Yeah.
Sometimes they are, but
Yeah, I mean, 1 or 2 of them may be strumming the chords, but if a couple of you are just doing some different inversions, you can actually have something quite interesting going on.
I find you can learn quite a lot at the jam night as well, because when you're watching other players, I mean, I like to think I'm reasonably accomplished on the guitar. I mean, I'm obviously playing for some reason a 12 string today. I don't know why I didn't bring a 6 string, but rock music, bit of speed metal, bit of blues, that sort of stuff. I can turn my hand to most of that. I mean, I could play 12-bar blues till the cows come home and still make it a little bit different each time. But I was recently at one where somebody was playing that gypsy jazz. Django Reinhardt sort of stuff, and he was going through, it was more than 3 or 4 chords, let's put it that way. So he was going through it, and the guy was obviously, there was 2 of them, the rhythm bloke and the lead bloke, and he was soloing that really well, and I was trying to go along with it. I couldn't quite work out what some of the chords were, so I was trying to play a little bit of a bass line to start with, and then I tried a bit of lead. And it's a completely, that sort of jazz is completely alien to me. And so when you do something like 12-bar blues, which is what a lot of people initially start jamming to, you've got your 3 chords and you know where they are and when they're going to come up, that sort of thing. But with the jazz thing, it was so foreign. I was sort of soloing away, and then it just went to a completely random, as far as I was concerned, completely random key change. So I was learning quite a lot from that, despite the fact I've played guitar for decades.
Well, I mean, that's the other thing. When you're jamming, quite often, whoever's sort of leading it or decides what song you just what key. And if there's it's a G and then we go into a D, okay, right, I know what I'm going at. And if the person who's playing that will nod you, okay, this is the key change now.
Yes. The verbal, the non-verbal.
Okay, key changes now, and then we can start twiddling away. I just think it's the other thing is it's not got to be anything fancy. It can become something fancy, but it doesn't have to be. And I've quite often gone to these jam nights and just like you done, just play the bass note and just join in with that. It's nice just to be playing. And actually, I'm getting this right. That's the right note,
You never know where it goes on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and as the song goes on or the piece goes on, you can start getting a bit more inventive. Oh yeah, I'm quite happy with that now. I'll start playing a bit more of this and a bit more of that. So it's not something you can learn your scales, you can learn your sheet music, you can learn your theory. You can't really learn jamming. You have to kind of just
absorb it.
You certainly can't teach it. You can you absorb it. You start having a go at it, and eventually you can. It's not always going to be perfect, but that's fine, you know. And then that does improve your actual playing when you want to write a song and you've got the rhythm.
Yeah, because you've got an idea of
what can the two guitars do, where can you go with it,
tunes work over and whatnot. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, something that we quite often jam is House of the Rising Sun, that sort of thing. Did you know that was an old French folk tune?
Oh, so, New Orleans. Collected by Leadbelly, who collected folk songs. Originally about.
It's about a soldier, wasn't it?
Well, it was about a house in New Orleans that was not a gambling house. Let's put it.
No, I mean the French folk.
Oh, the French folk tune.
So the chords are a French folk tune from originally.
Yeah.
I mean it's not surprising people like Leadbelly came up with it because that part of the world. French colonialism.
Exactly.
So I mean. You can make it as simple or complicated as you want, can't you? So do you want to do some lead? I might do some basic lead at some point. So just to illustrate how we.
I will start on a basic A minor scale here, which most of you will have learned in your chord books and things like that.
Okay. And I'll strum through it.
So completely improvised around what I was doing, basic A minor scale. Went to the A minor chord there and just played around with the shape.
I was strumming the normal sort of chords, the standard chords, and then chucking the occasional sort of seventh in. So on the E, for example. Just to give it a little bit more interesting. I don't know if they'll hear it on this because obviously.
Well, often when I played this on a solo piece on one guitar, I'd have the. Ninth and just slide down a little bit. So it's an E chord, it's an E9, a bit like your seventh, and just move it along a little bit.
Just use them slightly.
And again, when we were doing that, I did find that one little phrase. I just kept doing it.
And that chord changes underneath.
Because it's the same key, it works, you know. So you can you'll hear that. Listen to some of the guitar players, you know, actually they're not doing too much on that bit, and it's just a repeated little phrase there that goes through. So
that is all you need. I mean, I was obviously playing quite slowly, not particularly intricate because 12 strings don't really lend to the
quite difficult,
bending and that sort of thing. But there you go. Well, I mean, the sort of non-verbal communication as well. I mean, I could see that you were going to lead me into my solo, and then I only did it through once,
Yeah.
and I kind of didn't quite catch your eye at that point.
Well, I saw that you went back to a chord, so I okay, I'll come back to lead.
And then you came back from the actual chord shape rather than further up the neck. So I think that worked quite well.
Yeah, that works. That's the whole thing, actually.
Yeah, but like anything with guitars, it's doing it and doing it more frequently. You know, I mean, I think back to when I was sort of 14, 15, and it was terrible. I mean, still terrible, but I do it with more style. So I think that's covered most sort of things.
That's just really want to have a go. That's it, have a go.
Yeah.
Learn a bit of a basics pentatonic, learn a couple of chords, and there you go.
Off you go. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We can talk about making it more complicated another time. I think. So thank you very much, Lee.
That's no problem.
If you've got a question, if there's something you want to know or you want us to talk about, then email us at jambuddies@audiomatters.co.uk and we'll get right on it. Okay.